Remember what I told you, right?
Yeah.
What I said?
It's called man business.
Tell your mama dig her ass and post a picture that look better than my motherfucking mama. What's wrong with you?
Tony Yayo, one of 50's Day 1 G-Unit soldiers, broke it all down on Club Shay Shay. He said it all began because Ross thought 50 didn't acknowledge him at an award show. That's it. No betrayal, no wild diss, just a missed nod on the red carpet. But that tiny moment blew up in the years of diss tracks, interviews, and non-stop shots fired all across the industry. Even family members started getting dragged into the mix. Wives, mothers, nobody was safe once the shots started flying. That's the kind of environment 50 lives in.
Talk back there, bro. Yeah, I ain't just called it the blue.
A world built on pride, perception, and payback. So when T.I. went on national platforms and flat out said he didn't respect 50 Cent as a man, there was zero chance 50 was gonna let that slide. Not a single one. He jumped straight on Instagram, firing off posts and captions with that signature petty energy, warning Tip to keep my name out your mouth. And he didn't stop there. 50 threw shade at a few Atlanta artists too, calling out what he saw as fake loyalty and double standards in the game. Once he stepped in, the situation stopped being music, it turned into wartime. And just like that, what started as a friendly versus talk flipped into a volatile street-level feud. The switch was instant. One minute it was business, the next it was war. The whole vibe changed overnight. The air got colder, the tension got heavier, and you could feel the pressure building. 50 Cent snapped right back into that ruthless mode he's been perfecting for over 25 years.
I'm gonna jump out there first, and then you just gonna jump out there and we'll line it up. And he say, all right.
The same energy that's turned simple rap beefs into full-blown career-ending battles. Because here's what people forget about 50. When he decides he's coming for you, he doesn't stop at just you. Oh no, he goes after everything and everyone attached to your name. Nothing's off limits. Your career, he'll drag it through the mud. Your reputation, he'll stain it permanently. Your past, he'll dig it up and throw it in your face. And yes, even your family might catch strays if you're standing too close. We've seen this movie before. Remember when he went at Rick Ross and dropped that wild video with Ross's baby mama? Or when he taunted Diddy, hinting at explosive documentaries about his private life? That's how 50 plays. No boundaries, no mercy. And now, in February 2026, that same energy was aimed straight at T.I. But this time, it hit different, personal, disrespectful, and crossing lines nobody expected. T.I. wasn't ready for what came next, and honestly, nobody was, because that's when the whole feud flipped upside down. This stopped being a rap beef and turned into something way deeper, a family war. On February 22, 2026, 50 Cent made a move that shook the entire internet. Feeds exploded, timelines froze, and every corner of social media had something to say. People were stunned, angry, and fascinated all at once. And if you followed 50's moves over the years, you already know this was classic Curtis Jackson chaos. He's a master at turning private issues into public spectacles, and this time was no different. But before we break down what exactly went down that day, you need to understand who was in the crossfire. When we mention King Harris's mom, we're not just talking about anybody. Tiny Harris isn't just T.I.'s wife or some innocent bystander who got caught in the middle. She's a star on her own, a performer, a businesswoman, and someone who's been in the spotlight long before this drama ever started. Tiny Harris isn't just T.I.'s wife, she's a Grammy-winning powerhouse from the legendary R&B group Escape, one of the most iconic girl groups of the entire 90s. They were selling out arenas, topping charts, and dropping timeless records long before half the people talking online today were even born. Tiny's voice helped define an era, and her name already held weight in the game before she ever became Mrs. Harris. She married T.I. back in 2010, and together they built a family empire, including their son King Harris, born in 2004, who's grown up right under the spotlight.
and 50, right? Ross is not, they got a beef because 50 didn't say what up to him. That's just a new.
Cameras, interviews, and social media. He's been part of hip-hop culture since day one. So let's get one thing straight. Tiny isn't some background character in this saga. She's got her own legacy, her own spotlight, and her own success lane completely separate from whatever chaos is going down between her husband and the man from South Jamaica, Queens. And that's exactly what happened next sent the entire internet into meltdown mode. Because on February 22nd, 2026, 50 Cent went full savage. Out of nowhere, 50 posted a wild, unflattering picture of Tiny Harris straight on his Instagram page. And when I say unflattering, that's me putting it nicely. The picture showed Tiny mid-performance in a revealing outfit, with her skirt riding up just enough to make it obvious 50's goal wasn't just to troll. He wanted to humiliate her and get directly under T.I.'s skin. But the knockout punch? The caption. 50 doubled down like he always does, writing, "Keep my name out your mouth. Okay, boom." One line, cold, direct, and loaded like a warning shot. Boom. Just like that, millions saw it, and chaos erupted.
Welcome back to BuzzBuster. I'm glad you're here. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss daily videos. 50 Cent didn't just keep it lyrical, he took it way past the mic. The moment he brought Ty's family into it, the whole internet froze in shock. People couldn't believe how deep he went, dragging real lives into what was supposed to stay a rap battle. Millions of fans were locked in, watching as the feud flipped from clever bars to cold-blooded disrespect. The stage lights faded, and suddenly this wasn't about music anymore. It was about pride, ego, and chaos. That moment, it was the match that lit the explosion. But hold up, this drama didn't just come out of thin air like some random rumor flying through the timeline.
20 songs versus 20 songs. Now we got people, being called federal informant.
The tension between 50 Cent and T.I. had been brewing for years, bubbling under the surface, and it all traces back to one huge what-if moment, that versus battle that never went down. Back in those pandemic days, Versus was the live stream showdown that had the whole culture glued to their phones. Two legends going hit for hit, no holding back. Instagram Live was packed every night, fans flooding the chat, arguing who had the better catalog. And when whispers started about 50 versus Tip, people lost it. They needed that face-off. And get this, according to T.I. himself, it wasn't just hype or fan talk. He says they actually sat down in person and talked real business. T.I. said while they were both in L.A. working on some TV projects, the versus idea came naturally, like destiny calling two heavyweights to settle the score. And Tip didn't hold back with the details either. He laid out the convo step by step, how they agreed on the setup, how he'd kick it off first to set the stage. Then, as Tip tells it, he looked 50 straight in the eye and said, "What you think about that? Like, you want to do that shit?" The tension was palpable. The energy between them could have powered the whole city that night. He didn't even see what was coming. So Tip says he laid the whole plan out crystal clear, and 50 was all in. Everything sounded smooth. Tip would go first, hit the streets, build the hype, get the people talking non-stop, and then 50 would slide in to finish it off like a boss. It was clean, simple, and strategic. Two rap titans ready to give the culture a moment to remember. But then, things went left fast. According to T.I., once he started pushing the word publicly, lighting up interviews and getting fans hyped for the showdown, 50 suddenly switched up. Out of nowhere, he started acting brand new, like he had no idea what Tip was talking about. Like all those private talks in L.A. were just something Tip made up in his head. That switch up hit different. The energy between them changed instantly, and that right there became the breaking point. Tip said it wasn't even about 50 backing out of verses. He could have respected that if 50 just kept it real. If 50 had simply said, "Nah, bruh, I'm not feeling it," Tip would have saluted that and kept it moving. But what really cut deep was how 50, according to Tip, had dapped him up, agreed to every part of the plan, and then turned around like he didn't know a thing once the camera started rolling. That, in Tip's eyes, was pure betrayal, a snake move that destroyed all trust. And make no mistake, Tip didn't just drop this story once and disappear. Nah, he stood on it. He went on multiple platforms, including $1 million worth of game, and said it again with full conviction. He made sure the world heard him loud and clear. He had zero interest in ever sharing a stage with 50 Cent again. That chapter closed, locked, and buried deep. Then came the line, the one that changed the whole atmosphere. When Tip dropped that bar, everything froze for a second. You could feel the shift in the air. Because if you know even a little bit about 50 Cent, just a glimpse of how this man moves, then you already knew what was about to come next. It was about to get ugly. Curtis Jackson ain't the type of man to hear someone say, "I don't respect you" on a public platform and just let that ride. That's not in his DNA, never has been. His whole career is living proof of that. For decades, 50's been pressing people non-stop, and every feud he's ever touched has followed the same ruthless formula. Someone talks slick, 50 fires back hard, and before you know it, the whole thing explodes until one side either bows out or gets completely roasted in front of the entire world. That's the 50 Cent formula. Tried, tested, and undefeated. From the legendary Ja Rule War back in '99, to that brutal fallout with the game in the mid-2000s, to the non-stop drama with Rick Ross and Diddy, 50's entire resume is built on confrontation. And the wildest part? Some of those beefs didn't even start over anything serious, like the Rick Ross situation, for example.
Within minutes, social media was on fire. Feeds blew up, timelines froze, and big outlets like Hot New Hip Hop and Complex jumped on the story immediately, calling 50's move personal, petty, and crossing the line. They said exactly what fans were already shouting, that this wasn't about rap anymore.
Disrespecting T.I.'s family, more specifically T.I.'s wife, Tiny. 50 took to Instagram and posted a not so flattering photo of T.I.'s wife, Tiny.
This was personal warfare, and they reminded everyone about one of hip-hop's oldest unwritten rules, the code. You know the one. You can diss a man's lyrics, question his street cred, or clown his career choices all day long, but you never bring his family into it. You don't touch someone's wife, especially when she's got nothing to do with the beef. That's always been sacred ground in the culture. But let's be real, if there's one thing everyone knows by now, it's that 50 Cent doesn't play by anyone's rules. That's never been his style. He doesn't care about lines, boundaries, or public backlash. And that's exactly what makes him so dangerous in this game. This man built an entire empire off the mindset that nothing is off limits when he's in battle mode. No boundaries, no too far, no sacred lines. Once 50 locks in on a target, he's aiming for total destruction. Reputations, relationships, and legacies, everything's on the table once he declares war. And that mentality, that nothing is off limits mindset, is exactly what's made 50 Cent one of the most feared and unpredictable figures in hip-hop history. When 50 moves, the culture pays attention. But here's the twist. The post about Tiny, that wasn't even the explosion. That was just the fuse being lit, because what came next involved their son, King Harris. And if you thought things couldn't possibly get uglier after that Instagram shot, oh, you were so wrong. That post from 50 was just the setup, the spark before the blast. The real explosion came from King Harris himself, T.I. and Tiny's son, born August 2004. King's not just some quiet kid in the background. He's an up-and-coming rapper known for being outspoken, bold, and unafraid to clap back. He's grown up under the glare of cameras, on reality TV, around fame, music, and controversy since the day he could talk. He's seen it all, and he's learned how to handle pressure with attitude. So when King saw what 50 Cent posted about his mom, he didn't stop to think. He didn't cool off, call anyone, or ask for advice. He went straight to Instagram Live and let it rip. He unleashed a raw, emotional rant, defending his mother with every ounce of fire in his chest. The clip was electric, angry, passionate, and completely unfiltered. The kind of viral moment that stops the whole internet in its tracks. Feeds frozen, jaws dropped, comments flying faster than anyone could read them. But what really shocked people wasn't just the heat in his words, it was how deeply personal he went. King didn't just talk about 50 Cent the rapper, or the businessman, or the mogul. Nah, he aimed straight at Curtis Jackson the man. He dug into places most people wouldn't even mention, hitting where it truly hurt. And then came the line that sent chills through the culture. King brought up something 50's always kept private, his late mother, Sabrina Jackson, who tragically passed away in a suspicious fire when Curtis was just 8 years old. That's one of the darkest, most painful moments in 50's entire life, something he's only ever touched on briefly in interviews. But King crossed into that territory on camera, in front of the world. He said things about that loss that went way too far, lines that couldn't be taken back, not ever. Then he went further, posting a photo online that seemed to mock that tragedy, adding captions that instantly set the internet on fire. It was harsh, it was emotional, it was deeply personal, and you could see it. This wasn't a calculated PR move, this was pure rage, the reaction of a son watching his mother get humiliated in public and striking back with everything he had. The internet exploded. Fans were torn, some felt his pain, others said he crossed the line too far. But one thing was clear, from that moment, there was no turning back. Trying to defend his words, he flipped the whole situation around. He started praising his mom, Tiny Harris, calling her a legend, a Grammy winner, and a queen. He put her on a pedestal, setting her up as the moral high ground against everything he said represented 50's past. And once those words hit the internet, all hell broke loose. Within hours, King's live stream clips were everywhere. Instagram Reels, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts, you name it.
He posts a picture of Tiny, and he says, "I keep saying keep my name out your mouth," and puts up like a shrug emoji and says,
Millions of people were glued to their screens, eyes wide, trying to process what they had just heard. This wasn't just another rap beef, it had turned into a full-blown family firestorm, raw, emotional, and completely out of control. It felt like there was no way anyone could walk this one back now. A 21-year-old going off like that live with no filter, no script, it shook the internet to its core. And if there's one thing we all know about the internet, it's that when something this wild blows up, nobody waits for facts. People pick sides instantly. And this time, the divide was sharp.
On one side, fans said King did exactly what any real one would do. They backed him up, saying he had every right to defend his mom after seeing her publicly disrespected. They argued when someone goes at your mother in front of millions, you don't stay quiet, you go all in. To them, King was a son standing tall, protecting his family's name no matter what the fallout might be. But on the flip side, there was another crowd, and they were furious. They said King took it way too far. They couldn't believe he brought up 50's late mother, especially considering how tragic her passing was when 50 was just a kid. That, they said, was a line you never cross. Not in music, not on the internet, not anywhere. That's sacred ground, period. One commentator summed it up perfectly while trying to make sense of the chaos. We went from two OGs debating about a versus battle to posting tombstones and dragging families all in less than a week. And honestly, that's exactly what happened. What started as harmless versus talk spiraled into something dark, ugly, and deeply personal. In just a few days, hip-hop's playful, competitive spirit had turned into an emotional war zone filled with grief, pride, and words that couldn't be taken back. Nobody expected it to go this far, but now the whole world was watching, waiting to see what 50 Cent would do next. Nobody saw it spiral him into this. Not the fans, not the bloggers, not even the insiders close to the situation. What hit people hardest wasn't just the music talk, it was watching entire families get pulled into the chaos. That's when it stopped feeling like entertainment and started feeling real. And as for 50 Cent, whether you love or hate how he handles things, he stayed 100% true to his brand. Cool, calm, sarcastic, and completely unbothered. He didn't hop on live yelling into his phone. He didn't post some 20-minute emotional rant. Nope, he did exactly what 50 always does when somebody comes at him too hard. He flipped the whole thing into a joke. He dropped a meme, Pepe the Frog grinning, captioned with just one word, LOL. That was it. No long paragraph, no apology, no meltdown, just cold, calculated trolling at its finest. And if you followed 50 Cent's playbook over the years, you already know that kind of move cuts way deeper than any diss track ever could. It wasn't about clapping back with words, it was about sending a message without saying a thing. You're not even worth my energy, lil bro. That was classic 50, icy, ruthless, and funny all at once. But then came the post that shook the timeline to its core. Out of nowhere, 50 dropped something wild, a deepfake AI video that sent shockwaves across the internet. He took a scene straight out of the 2006 movie ATL, which, funny enough, starred T.I. himself, and digitally swapped his own face into it using advanced AI. The clip looked so real it freaked people out. In it, the AI version of 50 rolls up on a young dude, cool, smooth, laid back, like an OG checking in on a kid he used to know. The mood at first, calm, light, even funny. But halfway through, that vibe flipped quick. The energy turned sharp, real OG talk, the kind that carries a message behind every word. Then came the line that everyone quoted for days, the one that hit like a punch to the chest. The AI 50 looked dead at the young cat.
Go dig up. Post a picture of your mom, she dead. Pay respect.
Clearly representing King Harris, and said just 4 chilling words. Grown man business, boy. That was the statement. No yelling, no profanity, just straight authority. It was 50's way of saying, fall back, young blood. This ain't your lane. This ain't your level. It was slick, smart, and deadly, a warning wrapped in humor. And to top it all off, 50 ended the clip with a finishing touch that had people laughing and shaking their heads at the same time. The final shot froze on his AI face smirking, with text sliding across the screen reading, "Class dismissed." Boom. Mic drop. The internet went crazy. Some said it was genius marketing, others said it was cruel and calculated, but everybody agreed on one thing. 50 Cent was officially on demon time. Once that video hit, it was clear. This wasn't just trolling anymore. It was psychological warfare, the kind that 50's mastered for decades. The caption under 50's post said it all. Short, sharp, and deadly. Grown man business, boy. Boom.
Just like that, 50 Cent turned T.I.'s own movie into a trolling masterpiece. He used cutting-edge AI to flip ATL into a mix of humor, shade, and low-key threat all rolled into one. Fans went absolutely wild. Some were calling it next-level trolling, saying it was genius how 50 blended technology, comedy, and menace like only he could. Others weren't laughing at all. They said the video crossed the line, creepy, disrespectful, and out of pocket. But no matter which side you were on, one thing was undeniable. 50 had once again reminded the whole world why he's one of the most unpredictable, fearless, and dangerous minds in hip-hop beef history. And that's the real secret behind his game. 50 doesn't care about winning the moral argument. He plays to win attention. Every headline, every quote tweet, every shock reaction just fuels his empire. And once again, the entire internet was locked in on him, hanging on his every move. But the fallout? Oh, it got ugly, real ugly. Families were now knee-deep in the mess. What started as a friendly idea between two rap legends had turned into a digital street war with generations involved. Some fans hoped maybe things would cool down, that after the memes, the deepfake, and King's emotional live stream, both sides would take a breath and step back. But if you thought that, then you clearly don't know who we're dealing with, because the smoke was just getting started. Out of nowhere, T.I. himself slid right into the comments under 50's original post about Tiny. And his response? Exactly what you'd expect from a man watching his wife get disrespected in front of millions. He fired off a comment so wild it made people stop mid-scroll. You can post a fat on a snowstorm, on a unicycle juggling nose, you still a P. King said that. It was raw, confusing, hilarious, and vicious all in one breath. But one thing was crystal clear. T.I. wasn't holding back. Say what you want about Tip, but
but the man's always had a way with words. Even in pure fury, his words paint pictures you can't unsee. And that comment, as wild as it sounded, sent one clear message. I'm riding for my son, no questions asked. Father and son, united front. No backing down, no apologies. But Tip didn't stop there. He doubled down hard. Moments later, he hopped on his Instagram story and stood firm by King's side.
Moving around in LA, man, selling some TV shows while we were around each other, man, you know what I mean? I said, what you think about this?
Writing, you can win because you a good man, a good dad, and a good person. That wasn't just a proud dad moment, that was a declaration of war. T.I. was making it known loud and clear, we're a family and we move as one. And since T.I. is an MC before anything else, you already know what came next. He did what real rappers do when it's time to respond. He hit the studio. Within days, Tip dropped a brand new track titled War, a direct shot at 50 Cent's reputation, legacy, and entire persona. The track wasn't for clout, it was a statement. Tip came in sharp, fearless, and surgical. Every bar hit with precision, packed with pride, pain, and 2 decades of pent-up frustration. He didn't just throw light jabs, he went straight at 50's public image, his history of beefs, and the way he uses controversy to stay in the spotlight. Fans went wild. Clips flooded Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. Quotes from the song were everywhere. People said Tip was back in his bag. The cadence, the delivery, the confidence, it reminded everyone exactly why T.I. had stayed relevant for over 20 years. Lines like, you built your empire off chaos, I built mine off class, and you troll for views, I live my truth, instantly went viral. The energy felt different. This wasn't about hits, it was about honor. By the time War dropped, the internet had officially melted down. Comment sections turned into battlefields, with fans choosing sides between Queens and Atlanta. News outlets covered it like a heavyweight title fight. And one thing was undeniable, this had gone way past rap. This was personal, this was generational. And T.I. made it known, nobody plays with his family's name and walks away clean. Social feeds were flooded, clips, bar breakdowns, and wild reaction videos everywhere. Everyone had something to say. T.I. had just declared lyrical war, and fans treated it like a heavyweight title fight. Hashtags like Tip versus 50 and Family War were trending within hours. People were dissecting every bar, every metaphor, every subliminal jab like it was the Super Bowl of rap beefs. And right on cue, 50 played it exactly how only he can, loud without saying much. Instead of dropping a diss track or firing off angry posts, he went straight back to his favorite weapon, trolling. He started reposting memes, cracking jokes, and comparing himself to a final boss in a video game. One post had his face photoshopped onto Thanos, the Marvel villain, with the caption, "They keep coming, and I keep collecting souls."
It was petty, hilarious, and totally on brand 50. But this time, something felt different. The internet energy started to shift. Even some of 50's own supporters began questioning if he'd finally gone too far. Tiny's fans rallied behind her, flooding her comments with hearts, prayers, and messages of support. The sympathy was growing, and people were starting to say out loud what others had been whispering. This isn't funny anymore, it's just ugly. Meanwhile, King Harris kept that same fire burning. He doubled down, reposting fan edits, throwing up cryptic captions, and making it clear he wasn't backing down for anyone. Every move he made felt defiant, proud, and personal, like he was daring 50 to respond again. Soon, the industry started chiming in too. Charlemagne the God called the feud one of the most chaotic family versus rapper situations hip-hop's ever seen. Joe Budden said the whole thing felt more like reality TV than rap beef. Even OGs like Fat Joe and Snoop Dogg weighed in, saying once wives, mothers, and kids get dragged into the mess, it stops being hip-hop. It turns into personal destruction. The culture was split. Half the fans were entertained, the other half were uncomfortable. People weren't sure whether to laugh, cringe, or look away. But if anyone thought 50 Cent was about to apologize or cool off, they clearly forgot who they were dealing with. Because just a few days later,
50 teased what looked like the next phase of his trolling campaign. He posted a sneak preview for an upcoming episode of This Is 50 on YouTube, allegedly titled War Stories ATL Edition. The thumbnail? A still image from that same AI video he dropped earlier, with the caption in bold letters, "Grown man business continues." Fans instantly knew this wasn't over. The internet lost its mind again. People were debating whether 50 was doubling down or setting up something even bigger. Was it another diss, a skit, a trap? Nobody knew, but everyone was watching. Meanwhile, T.I. started showing a different kind of energy. The jokes, the memes, they didn't seem to shake him this time. His tone was shifting, from angry to focused. It was clear he wasn't just reacting anymore. He was strategizing. The war of words had turned into something deeper, a battle between legacy, pride, and control over the narrative. And both sides were locked in, knowing full well the next move could change everything. After T.I.'s single, War, exploded online, he started dropping subtle hints that he was ready to move past the chaos. During a live stream just days later, Tip said, "I said what I had to say. The record speaks for itself. I protect my family, and I'll always do that. But I ain't about to let no circus distract me from my legacy." That line hit hard. It was calm, powerful, and real. The first time in this entire wild saga that anyone sounded ready to move forward. But even with Tip trying to ease the tension, the internet wasn't letting it die down. Every meme, every lyric breakdown, every screenshot kept the fire burning. By now, the feud wasn't just a hip-hop beef. It had turned into full-blown digital entertainment. Commentators were calling it the new age blueprint for viral beefs. Songs, memes, AI edits, live stream rants, it was all blending together into one chaotic spectacle that nobody could look away from. And as crazy as it got, that's exactly what made 50 Cent's playbook so undefeatable. He doesn't just win arguments, he owns the narrative. He turns controversy into clicks and clicks into headlines. Every feud becomes part of his empire. Meanwhile, T.I. reminded everyone that even after all these years, his pen game still cuts deep. War proved he could silence the noise with pure skill. Love him or hate him, you couldn't deny it. Tip was back in form. His delivery, his focus, his confidence, it all screamed veteran precision. One thing was undeniable. Hip-hop hadn't seen a feud this explosive, layered, and public in years. But even as the dust started to settle, the question in everyone's mind was simple. Was this the end, or just the calm before 50's next move? One commentator even gave Tip his flowers, saying, "It's wild how after all these years, T.I. can still spit like that." And honestly, that's facts. Whatever people say about T.I., his choices, his controversies, when he picks up that pen, the man still got it. The War track reminded everybody why he stayed a respected voice in hip-hop for over 2 solid decades. Every time Tip steps in the booth, the results speak for themselves. Sharp, confident, and polished, with that signature Southern craftsmanship that built his legacy in the first place. But here's the thing. Before this drama, T.I. hadn't really been front and center like that. The spotlight had shifted. The culture had moved toward newer names, new sounds, new waves. That's just how hip-hop evolves. But suddenly, because of this chaos, people were tuned back in. T.I. was trending again, his name back in headlines, his old hits climbing playlists like it was 2006 all over again. And that's when things took another wild turn. While T.I. was starting to pull back, King Harris, his son, was just getting started. That young man wasn't letting go of the smoke one bit. On February 23rd and 24th, King came back swinging, harder than ever. This time, he decided to flip the script completely, going full investigator mode. King started digging through old archives and found a 2004 court clip of 50 Cent testifying on the stand. In that footage, 50 admitted to being involved in an altercation at a concert where 3 women were assaulted. The second that clip resurfaced, the internet went absolutely insane. Comment sections lit up, fans argued non-stop, and headlines started flying again. King had just thrown gasoline on an already blazing fire, and while 50 stayed silent for the moment, everybody knew it was only a matter of time before he clapped back. Because if there's one thing history's proven, it's that 50 Cent never lets anything slide for long. If you've been hooked on this insane feud, make sure you hit that subscribe button. There's way more drama, receipts, and behind-the-scenes updates coming soon. Don't miss what happens next when hip-hop's coldest strategist and the King family take this battle to the next level. Stay tuned, it's about to get even wilder.